Let's talk about investing into your health and fitness. So, I'm going to use a money analogy to represent your current state of health and fitness and where we want to take it in the future. So, imagine that you're handed a wad of cash and it represents your current physical ability, wellness, how you feel, health, strength, mobility, flexibility, joint health, performance, agility, athleticism, all of the components of fitness and wellness. And so the decision lies with you to determine what do you want to do with this money. So you have this wad of cash, and let's assume that most of us want to save some money for the future, right? So we want to preserve that cash in some shape or form. Right? And so I think for the most part, that goes for all of us when it comes to physical fitness. We want to ensure longevity when it comes to our physical well-being. So the vision might be, in my 70s, 80s, and hopefully 90s, I am able to thrive. I'm able to feel good, able to get up the stairs, get down on the floor and play with the grandkids, don't need a walker to walk. My joints aren't constantly aching and sore and stiff, right? So there's certain mobility, flexibility, strength, etc. goals that you might have now, but you also want to ensure longevity in the future, right? So that is the investment into our health and wellness. So let's take that wad of cash and think about how we can save it so that we have it available to us down the line in many, many years to come. Equating that to our physical wellness down the line for many, many years to come. Longevity is what I'll call it. So first option you have with that wad of cash is literally do nothing. So if you want to save it, you can just save it. Like you can just hold on to that cash, right? And you can keep it under the mattress or you can keep it in your purse and just not do anything, right? So do nothing is a saving strategy. However, we know that if you do nothing with that cash, given the current inflation, you're going to lose value in that money, right? So that money won't be worth as much. It won't be able to get you as much years down the line, right? So doing nothing is a strategy, but it's not a very good one to preserve your wealth. Similarly, if you want to preserve your physical well-being in the long run, doing nothing now will not help you preserve and thrive in the long run, right? So it's doing nothing is something that's super easy to do for us right now, but not taking care of kind of the future. That is the issue with doing nothing. You will lose physical fitness, mobility, conditioning, strength, agility, athleticism. All of that will decline over time. So it's almost a guarantee that will decline. So the question is, how can we best preserve it? So doing nothing does not seem like a good strategy because it's a given that it'll decline if we do nothing. It's a guarantee, right? And that's kind of how, by the way, we approach aging, right? So we assume that it is a given that we will age poorly, sort of, we will eventually hit those walls of strength, mobility, wellness, like our physical functions will decline. I have seen so many times in person and, all over the news and on Instagram, but that people are able to preserve themselves well into their 90s really well in terms of how they feel, how active they're able to be, how mobile they are. All of that is available to us. There's a select few who are able to succeed and they end up in the news. But I've seen it with my own grandmother. I've seen her well into her 90s be very active because she invested in her health. And so let's talk about that. So doing nothing guarantees us a negative outcome, right? So we lose our physical capabilities. Again, we lose money if we just hold on to it. So let's talk about then our next option. Our next option is to put that money in the bank. So we take that money, put it in the bank. The bank gives us some small return on our investment, something like a very small savings interest rate. And at the same time, as a side note, the bank makes a lot more money off of your money than you do. if you put it in the bank. The only thing that the bank guarantees is that you are going to preserve some of your money. However, that savings rate does not outpace inflation. So you are, if you just keep that money in the bank, you will slow down the rate of decline of the value of your money, but you will not thoroughly, fully prevent it, right? So inflation is going to outpace whatever interest rate the bank gives you. That's a guarantee as well. The bank will also prevent you from taking on too much risk in the stock market. But again, that FDIC insurance comes at a cost, which is literally you will not preserve the value of your money given the inflation. You will get some return, but you will not optimize that return. So the value of your money will decline, just not as much, right? That's what happens when you put the money in the bank. When it comes to your physical fitness capabilities and wellness, I equate this strategy with performing workouts, being active, but having no plan. So it's kind of like you pull some workouts off the internet, you try something else, and you do some things, right? You're active somewhat, or maybe you don't strength train, but you do a lot of cardio, or maybe, you go for a daily walk, which is fantastic. And it is helping you preserve your current state of physical wellness. However, it will eventually, because it's not a sort of a complete approach, will eventually lead to some physical decline, right? Because there's no strategy there. So it's not optimizing the return on that money that you have invested. So it's not sort of ensuring longevity. It's furthering the decline. It's preventing rapid decline. It's helping you get some benefits, but again, it's not the optimal strategy. So having said that, you have another option, which is investing directly into the stock market. It's a pretty good strategy because it's going to likely outpace inflation. So you take that money and you put it in the stock market and maybe track the S&P 500. Historically, it's been shown that the S&P 500 grows year over year and it outpaces inflation. So if you just do that one thing, you're going to likely outpace inflation and preserve your health and wellness, in my metaphor. There is, however, a risk. And that risk is that you can lose all your money in an instant if the markets crash. We saw that happen over and over again. We're currently in a recession, but we also saw that happen in 2008 when everybody lost their money. And can you tell the economist in me is coming out? Because that's sort of when I was coming up as an economist. But anyway, in my previous life. But investing in the stock market is a great idea, but at the same time, it bears risk, right? So there's no guarantees. It is a true gamble. And I do like this strategy. And I mean, when it comes to my money, part of my money is invested in the stock market. However, when it comes to physical wellness, what is the analogy? Well, it's something like following a structured program. It's participating in sports, competing in a league, right? So you're super active. You're looking to grow your money right now. You're looking to invest in the market and you're looking to grow your money and get a high rate of return on that money, on that investment, right? So that means you're going after, PRs in the gym. You're going to the gym regularly. You're getting coached in a sport. You're participating again in competitions. You are doing a lot to further your physical capabilities, right? Like you're working on your strength and conditioning. You're working on your mobility, flexibility. Like there's a lot of components that you are investing in and they are yielding a return. At the same time, there is a risk. The risk is you're missing something that, is a very likely, hole in your training that's going to lead to an injury. So that's a chronic injury, or there's a direct, like acute injury that might happen if you participate in, the more you ask of your body, the more likely you are going to get injured, right? I mean, even if you are lifting in the gym, the rate of injuries is likely going to increase if you start to ask more, raise the amount of weight that you perform, or, speed up when you're performing your HIIT session in the morning and you're going to like a boot camp class. The more you ask of your body, the more likely you are to get injured, right? That's always the risk we take on when we ask a lot of our body, which is totally fine because you get so much out of it. It's just how do you balance the rate of return and the risk, right? So that is a great strategy. At the same time, to me, it's not a complete strategy because it does not ensure longevity unless you take some steps to de-risk it, right? So de-risking that investment strategy isn't contained in just putting your money in the market, or again, going to a fitness class, participating in a competition league, and looking to improve performance in your sport, right? Very strong strategy, but again, not optimally ensuring our longevity and not optimally ensuring that you're going to thrive down the line, right? So what's left? What's left? What else can we do with our money? Well, we have one more option, which is invest in an asset. And the asset might be something that yields dividends. So something that you're guaranteed dividends over time if the company does well. So that's you buying stock in a company that yields dividends. Or one that I really like is investing in real estate. So something that is not going to decline in value and is most likely going to increase in value. And we know that in the current real estate market, like the value of the houses that we're seeing is just really increasing and holding really high, which is pricing people out of buying a house, unfortunately. But my point is, you see that investing in real estate, you see that there is a high return on your investment, and it's also almost entirely risk-free because it sort of ensures that your investment doesn't decline. There's very little risk, right? So investing in such an asset that ensures very little risk and ensures that you're going to grow your wealth, that sounds pretty good. So what is the equivalent of that when it comes to your physical well-being and abilities? To me, that's investing in a foundation of how you move, your biomechanics, your alignment, and then eventually addressing mobility and stability. So to me, the quality of your movement is going to ensure the success of whatever you pursue with respect to your fitness, but also your longevity. So it's almost a guarantee that if you build up excellent biomechanics, good alignment, and you have a clarity about how you move throughout your lifestyle and throughout your exercises and throughout your sports, you're going to not only preserve your joint health, your mobility, strength, etc., you will also be able to grow in terms of performance. And I see that as the path to preventing decline that comes with aging. Because what we ultimately see when with aging, the decline starts with, you see that hunched over posture. You see the lack, there's a lack of strength that starts to happen in the spine. There's a lack of flexibility in the spine. So ensuring excellent alignment and then building it and then really kind of establishing that foundation through your training and then throughout your lifestyle will ensure that when you age into your 70s, 80s, hopefully 90s, you will be able to thrive. You will be able to feel great. And that's because you've put that money and invested it into this asset that yields the foundation, that yields a dividend, that yields a guarantee that you're going to preserve your current abilities and then grow your wealth over time. So let's talk more about that. What does that look like? So before we jump into literally any fitness program, which again will help somewhat, but before we jump into it, before we do literally anything else, let's talk about how your body works through space. So how do you align your bones in space? How do you hold your head? Where are your shoulders in relation to your head? How are your knees in relation to your ankles and your hips? All of these components, where are your hips in relation to your back? All of these components are going to matter as soon as you start asking your body to move, because then you're either taxing your body or you're preserving your body. It's kind of that simple, really, because if there's a certain misalignment, if there's a poor biomechanical movement pattern, you are asking more of your joints and of your muscles than they need to be performing. So it's not an optimal way to move, and so you're effectively spending money. And when you invest in making sure that you are optimally aligned, you are investing in yourself because you're ensuring longevity and you're not causing wear and tear on your joints and your connective tissue and on your muscles. So it's that simple. It's kind of like a very small adjustment in how you carry yourself, again, how you align your bones when you perform a movement that will allow you to recruit your muscles either optimally or suboptimally. So it's going to be either an investment or you're spending cash. You're throwing money away, right? So building that foundation, it doesn't take much. It takes one thing, which I'm not sure that people want to do, but here it is. It takes paying attention to how you move. It's very, very simple. So it's when you go to the gym, maybe you put on headphones and you zone out and you're just performing your exercises. And some people are fine doing that. That's totally possible that they're going to thrive doing that because they naturally maybe have good mechanics based on their prior history, etc. But some people are not fine doing that. And so some people are not optimizing how they move and they're taxing their joints and they say, this fitness program isn't for me. I got hurt. My knees hurt. I can't run. My knees hurt. It's an alignment issue that caused overuse injuries over time, right? Because that you were spending that money as you were moving in that fitness program. So it's something that is accessible to everyone. Paying attention to how you move, taking the headphones out, and just noticing, how does my back feel when I perform this deadlift? How do I feel when I squat down to pick up something off the floor? Is a really important way to think when it comes to preserving your health and wellness. It's building that foundation isn't an extra step. It's infused in your regular lifestyle and routine. And it ensures that you de-risk most of the fitness performance pursuits that you participate in. That is the difference. So building the foundation and understanding how your alignment should be in any given movement. Yes, it takes time, but it also takes no time because all you have to do is pay attention to what you're doing, right? And so noticing, what is my movement quality? Paying attention to, is my neck feeling easy and balanced right now as I stand here? How do my shoulders feel? Do they feel better here or do they feel better here? Or, what is neutral right now? That is all at your fingertips right now. And it's all available to you right now. And that is the investment into the future fund of you feeling healthy, feeling thriving, and feeling really great into your 70s, 80s, and hopefully 90s. That is the foundation of longevity, is that excellent biomechanical movement pattern, that movement quality, feeling easy when you perform the movements, and are feeling aligned. So when you're going out for a walk, you are feeling an ease in your spine rather than a tension, right? So you're starting to differentiate. What is the difference? Is my back stable? Is it supporting me in the movement that I'm trying to perform? If it's not, then you're spending money. If you pay attention and stabilize your spine before you perform a deadlift, then you're putting money in the bank because you've just established a very good movement pattern and you're strengthening it with exercise. That is putting money in the bank. So spending money is poor alignment and asking your body to do something, like let's say a deadlift. And your deadlift is actually taxing your joints, spending money. Realigning your spine, ensuring perfect alignment, and then feeling great and easy in the spine and stable in your spine as you perform a deadlift, you're investing into your longevity because you're training a correct movement pattern and you're building muscles around you and around your back that are supporting that movement pattern. So that clarity in movement is going to pay off, and it's going to de-risk whatever you do. It's going to prevent injuries in whatever fitness program you select. Because the fitness program that you select, it's going to work if you stick to it, but it's also going to ensure longevity if you are performing the movements optimally to your body. So you're going to get a lot more out of literally any movement discipline, any fitness program, if you focus on alignment first. And it's an underlying thread. And all it takes is to be aware and pay attention to how each movement feels. That is the absolute first step, and also a very simple thing to add without changing much else is how you move, noticing how you move, paying attention to your alignment. So that is my top tip and investment strategy into your health and wellness. Good alignment and strong biomechanics.